Hey everybody, this is Kevin here with Jag Insurance. I have my friend Yousif Mohamed here joining us for our episode of Building the Book, where we learn about how professionals from different industries build their books of business, the ins and outs of their sales processes. Yousif, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. Really cool to see your new office and this awesome setup you have.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it. So, we worked together a few years back, ran into each other at the gym recently.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, let's get together and film some content.
Hell yeah. Exactly. Yeah, super excited. You told me you had this awesome media team in your office. I didn't know it was this large scale and this professional. So super excited to be here, man.
Yeah. And I've always known that you've done a lot of content yourself. So the light bulb kind of clicked like, hey, this is perfect. You have experience on camera. You have a good following yourself. In the comment section of the video, the summary section, we'll list your Instagram and we'll cross promote it so everyone can check out what you have going on at Movement Mortgage. And we'll take it from there. But, kind of just diving right in.
Yeah.
Just tell everyone a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So my name is Yousif Mohamed. I work for a company called Movement Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage business for going on 7 years now. Bounced around, lived throughout the entire world, really. I was born in Egypt, lived in Canada for like 10 years, lived in Saudi Arabia for like 3 years, and landed in Gainesville, Florida in 2006. So went to high school there, went to college there, UF, go Gators, and got a finance degree, man. And I was in corporate finance, doing internships and stuff. And as soon as I was about to graduate and take a full-time corporate finance job, I saw this little booth called SunTrust Mortgage at Career Fair. And they told me, hey man, we want to take you up for a year worth of training in Richmond, Virginia, and train you all about mortgages. And I'm like, okay, that's different, that's unique. Nobody at that time in 2015 was going in sales our age. That was like a bad word, right? You're going in sales, you're probably, not going to amount to anything type of thing, right?
It's all job security.
Exactly.
Hey, get my salary, get my benefits, do that, take the safe route. That's when you went to college, right? The safe route.
Exactly. And I'm like, you know what? Hold on a second. You're going to take me all the way up to Richmond, Virginia for an entire year, train me about a business and how to sell that business. Let me give it a shot, And I did. So I packed up my bags, went to Richmond, Virginia, spent a year there at SunTrust Mortgage headquarters, and it was amazing, man. I learned all about the mortgage business. I shadowed appraisers, underwriters, processors, sat with Consumer Direct, did some really amazing things. And fast forward 7 years, I was with SunTrust for 2, and then I've been with Movement Mortgage for 5 now. And now I'm more of a direct lender, not a bank. And all we do is focus on mortgages as opposed to a big bank. And that's who I am right now.
Awesome, great. So crazy story, been all over the world, and I love how you jumping into sales and taking that jump. I did something very similar when I graduated. I jumped into a sales job, and then I actually kind of switched paths around 3.5 years ago to more consumer direct. So I was internal business to business sales. I was an insurance wholesaler. So I would act as a broker for insurance agents, a medium for them to enter the market and find insurance for their clients. And
awesome.
I was also an underwriter, so I built my technical background, but it was almost like a partial sales component, salary plus a bonus based on commission. And I was like, man, I want more of that sales aspect, less of the underwriting, less of the actual technical analysis and that type of work. I want to be selling. I want to be on the streets more. I want to be actually the one dealing with the clients rather than giving my proposal for someone else to sell. So I got that itch, and then I came here to Jag, and it's been great ever since. So,
awesome.
But I know what you're kind of referencing when you say the alarms start to sound in people's heads when you say I'm going into sales, especially so young, when you have other maybe corporate finance opportunities or more secure options. But I mean, I'm sure, like myself, you never looked back, and it was probably, now you could probably only ever do sales.
Exactly, man. I mean, the power of just being able to own your life, own your day, and control your destiny really has been a huge blessing, in disguise. Just like anybody who starts in sales, things are always rocky to begin with. There is a high barrier to entry and a lot of fallout and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, if you're adding value and you're doing the things you need to do, the only way to get rewarded is to do something sales-oriented. You can work as hard as you possibly can and climb up the corporate ladder. You can be the best employee on planet Earth, but your effort is not going to be indicative of your compensation or your freedom up until you enter into a position where your effort is only indicative of your income and your freedom, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, anybody watching this that is thinking about hopping into sales, do it strategically, do it smart, but believe in yourself, right? That's the most important part.
And it's awesome that you said it, because it has to be the same everywhere. I know it was for me and now for you. The beginning is rocky. moments of doubt. It's scary. Did I make the right choice? Then the little kind of glimmers of hope start to come in, and then it turns into success, and then it turns into continued success, and then it's like, yes, this is the best decision I ever made. Tell me a little bit about your first year.
So my first year, I was still with SunTrust, right? Mm-hmm. I had moved down from Richmond to Miami to work at to service a few of the branches here in the Miami-Dade County SunTrust locations. And it was interesting because when you do a mortgage at a big bank, there's a lot of different things they call overlays. Overlays are rules on top of rules, meaning that the Fannie Mae is going to require, somebody to have like a 50% debt to income ratio, for example, to qualify for a mortgage. Yeah. So you learn that and you understand that. But then banks might say, well, hold on one second. We're actually going to say that our rule says 40% debt to income ratio. So that's fine. But then when you have those kind of overlays for all the different regulations in qualifying a borrower, then you end up missing things. You end up forgetting that this wasn't a rule. The rules change all the time. And as a brand new loan officer, the last thing you want to do is make a mistake, because that mistake trickles down all the way up until the very end of a transaction. And you're like, damn it, my bad. I forgot about that, because you're not experienced and you don't know, right? So it was a lot of bridges being burned, to be honest with you, Kevin. The main thing about my business is it is relationship based to a millionth degree, right? And it is relationship based because you need to be able to hold a real estate agent's paycheck in your hands and say, I will give this to you in 30 days. Trust me. Right? Yeah. And if you don't, guess what? They're probably never going to talk to you again. They're going to be pissed, and that's worst case scenario. So my first year in the business was rough, man. It was a lot of bad news. It was a lot of learning, a lot of rolling with the punches, a lot of trying to understand, what the best course of action would be moving forward in terms of where I wanted to work and how I wanted to work.
Yeah. Okay. And definitely the same over here. Learning how to deal with those problems just makes you so much better. Keeping a cool head, or maybe something doesn't go quite right, or someone misses something. But hey, you always have to take ownership. It's your deal. Yeah. But that's interesting. So as you transition from SunTrust to Movement Mortgage, how did that process sort of change for you?
Well, the cool part about Movement Mortgage, the company I'm with now, is we are direct lenders, so we don't have those rules on top of rules, those overlays, right? And we are heavily, heavily focused on relationships, particularly relationships with real estate agents. My company is so hyper-focused on how do we add more value to the agent that everything else takes a back seat. So whether it comes to rushing files or creating exceptions or doing things that not necessarily aren't, by the book or profitable for the company, we'll do those things because we understand that without our real estate agents, we really aren't anything as a company, right? Yeah. So when the whole focus and everyone's common goal is in mind, things flow a lot smoother. We're not fighting with operations. We're not fighting with underwriters. We're not fighting with management. Everybody's in line and has a common goal, and we're able to achieve that goal, right?
So realtors are a good potential pipeline source for you. Tell me a little bit about how you build those relationships.
Yeah, for sure. So when you think about doing mortgage loans, the number one source of business for most lenders should be an agent, right? Because they have clients. The clients need to get pre-approved. They need to go through the process and eventually fund their deal, right? So when it comes to prospecting agents, what we want to understand is, what is that agent looking for? And really dive in real deep, Kevin, into actually what that particular agent is looking for. Obviously, the baseline is what? Somebody who's responsive, somebody who can get the deal closed, somebody who their clients like, right? But every agent could be different. So understanding how they like to be communicated with, what makes them tick, what kind of clients they have is super, super important. And the beauty of experience is you get to see the brand new agent 100 times, you get to see the seasoned multi-million-dollar agent 100 times, and you get to figure out what works best and what doesn't, and pass off those personality traits and pass off those systems and these processes we put in place and replicate them from person to person, right? So we try to figure out what is, let's say Kevin the agent. What is Kevin the agent looking for? Is he looking to grow his book of business with first-time home buyers? Is he looking to dive deeper into marketing? Is he looking just to provide A+ service to his more seasoned, older clients? And being able to identify those things is a huge skill you have to build up. But once you build up that skill, then you're able to really dig deep and provide the value that you actually need to provide to those particular agents, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So it's almost like you're profiling them as a business partner, and that's what really tells you, okay, I see a future in working with you because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Our styles mesh, or I can adapt my style to fit your preferences, and we can create a fruitful relationship.
Yeah. What's the highest and best use of my time to you? You know, what is it that you really, really need? Or maybe what you don't know you need that I can then show you that you need in order to help you either grow your business, maintain your business, or do whatever it is that you're looking to do, right?
Got it. So you essentially have multiple groups of people that you have to kind of keep calm through this process and kind of, you know, guide through a transaction. You have the realtor who wants to get paid, who's putting their neck on the line for the client, who the client is probably trusting them in their choice of mortgage broker partner. And then you also actually have that home buyer themselves. Yeah. And typically, I mean, I work new purchase transactions all the time. Everyone's a little frazzled and stressed out during this transaction, kind of freaking out the whole time. So you have multiple people you have to kind of juggle and keep happy. That doesn't sound too easy.
Yeah. You know, it's not very easy, but I'll tell you, it's very fun. It is extremely, extremely exciting to be able to help people navigate this kind of process and understand and get ahead of their concerns, get ahead of their problems, and really turn it around and turn it into something positive. So the beauty of doing hundreds and hundreds of transactions over the past 7 years is we get to anticipate that emotional roller coaster, and we get to get ahead of it with certain people, and we get to build a process centered around what we think might be those objections or those pitfalls, right?
Got it. Yeah. Awesome. And all of that comes with experience.
Comes with experience.
So you said something as we begin to wrap up now. It's a great closing point is you mentioned fun and how it becomes very fun. And a lot of the best people I know in sales in multiple industries, and I think about this all the time too, is that I actually have a lot of fun in what I'm doing. And the best salespeople I know, the most successful people I know that are providing, you know, any sort of service in general, you see that passion, they get fired up. You're fired up.
Yeah.
I'm getting fired up listening to you talk. I'm like, oh man, yeah. So it's, you know, sales starts off so scary, it starts off rocky. When did it turn fun for you?
You know, whenever you start as sales in anything, whether you're selling pens and pencils or you're selling insurance or you're selling loans, whatever you're selling, you're going to have to start somewhere and you're going to have to build from nothing, right? Which means you have to take everything that comes at you and try to make something of it, right? That's the bottom line. But as you progress and build your skill set and become more valuable as an individual, you then get to pick and choose whether or not you're a good fit for a particular business partner, right? So being able to identify and say our personality traits mesh, our process meshes, our communication styles mesh, our clientele are similar, that's when things really start to change for you, because then you can say, listen, this could turn into money for us, but is it really worth, you know, building a relationship based off of just simple money? Or do you want to build a long-standing relationship where we can enjoy each other's company and come into work every day and really be excited to serve people, right? And when you're brand new, you can't do that. You simply have to roll with the punches. You have to get beat up, man. You have to get beat up in order to know who you are and to build your skill set. But when you've been through the ringer a little bit and you understand what value you bring, you can then say, look, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, we're not aligned. You know, we don't really do that many foreign nationals. We don't really do that many low-income borrowers. That's just not who we are. So let's not try to fit, you know, a square into a circle, and let's just kind of leave it at that. Versus, look, we're a great fit. Let's build upon this. Let's build an empire together, and let's figure out how we can, you know, exponentially grow through synergy. And that's what we do now, man, which is so cool, is we get to sit there and actually have fun with people. And that only comes with time. But once you hit that kind of that point in your career, then it's just exponential from there, man.